one fires. High fly ball, deep right field. Raleigh joins Rodriguez, delivering in Game 7.
Ohtani, did he? Ohtani has done it again!
The Blue Jays have won the pennant.
These league championship series have been downright historic. We've seen franchises that have been in the gutter completely revitalize themselves, witnessed one of the most athletic achievements of all time, and to top it all off, the best dynasty in the history of baseball is threatening to completely destroy baseball as we know it. This LCS has been amazing, that's for sure. But what if I told you that this World Series is going to set records no matter who wins? But before we get into the video today, But before we get into this World Series matchup, guys, I want to bring back the jersey giveaway that we did previously on this channel. We're going to do it again for our road to 50K. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me, and I really want to give back to the community that we're building here together. So if you're not already, subscribe, like, comment what jersey you want down below, and I will pick a lucky winner every single video I upload to get a jersey. Now that that's out of the way, let's get right into it. The 2025 NLCS between the Dodgers and Brewers was a downright clinic. On paper, I know half of these games were close, but if you zoom out and just examine the starting pitching of the Dodgers, the Brewers never had a chance. In Game 1, Blake Snell tossed an 8-inning shutout while Kane 10 batters, leading to a Dodgers 2-1 victory. This would be a common theme in the series, as in Game 2, Yoshinobu Yamamoto tossed a complete Game 7 strikeout gem as the Dodgers knocked off the Brewers 5-1. Yeah, you get the gist of the story here. After all that talk, Dodgers pitching came to play. And in fact, the Dodgers postseason rotation boasts a 1.40 ERA, which is third best in MLB history through a team's first 10 games in the postseason. Game 3 was more of the same. And in Game 4, Shohei Ohtani completely took over, launching 3 home runs, striking out 10 batters as a pitcher. This guy, guys, we're witnessing something special. Obviously, this won him NLCS MVP as the Dodgers swept the Brewers, but let me be very clear. What Shohei Ohtani did in this single game is more impressive than 99% of the athletic achievements I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not just glazing Ohtani, I promise you. This is the equivalent of a player throwing 3 touchdowns and getting 20 tackles in the NFC Championship game. A player somehow scoring 3 goals and saving a shutout in hockey. This is just an absurd performance that should not be humanly possible, but Shohei did it. And if you thought that was impressive, check out what the Blue Jays did against the Mariners in the ALCS. The first 2 games of the ALCS were a struggle for Toronto. They got outscored 13-4. The Mariners bullpen had tossed over 10 scoreless innings. The Jays bats looked dead, like a complete 180 from the ALDS against the Yankees. But then something changed. In Game 3, the bats exploded for 13 runs behind the Blue Jays offense that not once, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 home runs. Even after Seattle took a quick 2-0 lead in Game 4, the bats kept hitting as Toronto exploded for 5 runs in the 3rd inning. In fact, they hit their way into tying the series to 2 apiece. After that, they even had a chance to take a deadly 3-2 lead over Seattle, but Eugenio Suarez had other plans.
Another 2-2. It's another fastball. It's driven the other way. It's got a chance. It's a grand slam.
That was supposed to be the series. Not only did the Mariners lead the Jays 3-2, they had the momentum. They had taken the life out of Toronto, or so they thought. In Game 6, Toronto jumped ahead quickly with a 4-0 lead behind an Addison Barger home run, and after Trey Savage pitched into the 6th, striking out 7 batters, Toronto's bullpen came in to shut out the game, giving Toronto a 6-2 victory, meaning that somehow the Jays forced the final game, the Holy Grail, the Game 7. Either the Blue Jays go to the World Series for the first time in over 3 decades, or the Mariners make their first World Series appearance in franchise history. And in the 3rd inning, Julio Rodriguez went yard to give Seattle the lead, but I want to talk about this next home run. In the 5th inning, Cal Raleigh hit a bomb, not only giving the Mariners a multi-run lead, but also giving him the most home runs in American League history. No, seriously, with this home run, Cal Raleigh passed Aaron Judge for most home runs in an American League season, including the playoffs. But that pales in comparison to what George Springer did a few innings later for the entire country of Canada.
1-0 pitch. High fly ball. Left field. Arozarena watches it go.
Just listen to that crowd. And a few innings later, it was all over. The Toronto Blue Jays are headed to the World Series. And if you're not happy about this, let me tell you something that'll make you smile. Don Mattingly, the bench coach for the Toronto Blue Jays, has been in the major leagues for over 40 years. 14 years as a player, 12 as a manager, and 17 as a coach. This is the very first time in his career that he'll be participating in a World Series, and it's going to be against his old club, the Los Angeles Dodgers. The 2025 World Series is between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And I know you're already thinking, Uni, the Dodgers are going to win it easily. They haven't had a real challenge all postseason. Who cares anymore? Listen, I get it. I understand the frustrations, but you just need to hear me out because I genuinely believe the Toronto Blue Jays can actually win this series. First off, let's analyze how the Dodgers got to the World Series to begin with. Credit where credit is due. Dave Roberts is excellent at his job. He knows the Dodgers bullpen is terrible. He knows it's one of the worst units in the MLB, and he knows if he hands the game off to them, they'll likely lose. So what does he do? He trusts his starters. He knows his starters have the elite stuff to get deep into games, and even if they let up a run or two, he knows they're the best options for Los Angeles to win games. Now, I know that it's easier said than done, but Toronto needs to do one thing to have a chance at winning this World Series, and that is work the bats. Get the starting pitcher out of the game before the 6th inning. If the Blue Jays can do that, they will win the World Series. I genuinely think they can do it. Like I said, they don't even need to necessarily score off of the Dodgers starting pitching. They just need to work the counts, get the pitch count up, and get to the bullpen. But let's be honest, there's always a chance that the Dodgers offense just mashes their way to victory because, well, their lineup is full of all-stars and future Hall of Famers, but that's besides the point. A World Series victory means something radically different for each franchise here. For the Blue Jays, this is literally everything for them. They gave Vladimir Guerrero Jr. a $500 million contract in the offseason. This was a deal that was called an overpay by a ton of analysts. And now in year one, they have a chance to make it worth every single penny. Not only that, but what about George Springer? After his Game 7 go-ahead blast, he's tied for 3rd all-time in postseason home runs. He's already a World Series champion, a World Series MVP, and a player with borderline Hall of Fame stats. One more ring and he could play himself into the Hall of Fame. Also, next season, there's no certainty that this Blue Jays team will be competitive. Bo Bichette is a free agent, their pitching staff is only aging, and the Yankees and Red Sox will surely be adding talent in the offseason. So this World Series could change everything for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I hope they take advantage of what they have right now. Instead of being seen as a franchise that overpromises and underdelivers, they could finally bring the country of Canada their first World Series trophy since 1993. But let's take a breather. What if the Dodgers win? What if the Los Angeles Dodgers secured their 3rd World Series title in 5 years? Well, it's simple. They begin what seems like an endless dynasty. They all but secure their future signing of yet another Japanese phenomenon in Munetaka Murakami. And there still will be a strike in 2027. And I don't know if some of you guys are casuals or you think I'm overreacting, but it's real. Like, in theory, a star-studded team that wins back-to-back World Series titles shouldn't impact a labor negotiation. But Jeff Passan told fans, we have reason to believe that it actually will. The Dodgers single-handedly outspend several teams combined. They've proven they don't care about the luxury tax, and fans are getting tired of the same team dominating an entire league. Now, I do love seeing the Dodgers win. I'm not a Dodgers fan, but I love Ohtani. I'm loving the sport, but I can see where the rest of the league is coming from. And if you want an entire breakdown into that lockout situation, we already have a video on that I highly recommend you watch, because if the Dodgers do win the World Series, the lockout that's going to come in 2027 is just going to be amplified through this success. So in my personal opinion, I'm gonna have to back the Blue Jays for this World Series. And no, it's not because I'm a Yankees fan and just hate the Dodgers. I genuinely think the Jays bats are going to beat the Dodgers elite pitching. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has looked like the Santa Maria or something. I don't know. He looks like the chosen one. And George Springer is posting elite postseason at-bats. Bo Bichette will also be back in the World Series, and Addison Barger has been a pleasant surprise. Not to mention Toronto starting pitching, which has been excellent. From Trey Savage becoming a Toronto baseball legend at the age of 22 to old crazy Mad Max Scherzer, who's been pitching his butt off in Canada. I mean, seriously, guys, he's 42 and he's still talking to his manager into letting him stay into games. This is gonna be an unbelievable World Series. I cannot wait. I'm gonna put my prediction down. Blue Jays over the Dodgers in 6. That's my opinion. What do you guys think? Who's gonna win? How is this gonna affect the future of the league? And if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a like, comment below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.